Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the eco. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. Found out the hacks, put it in the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts.
And that's facts though, I talk factos. Ask J Babe, I go Astro. Floating focused on my cash flow. We plant star seeds to make the grass grow. I'm a refloater, I do what I wanna. Stacking the winter, sunbathing the summer. My chakras align and I shock them like Blanco. Only Pope will acknowledge a nigga is Pablo.
At these events, I'm a god to my people. Got out the streets, yeah, we dodging a Rico. Game of roulette, I'm a casino. The game wasn't fair, yeah, the odds wasn't equal. Squad got the Chico, my squad got the Chico. Game in a drought, yeah, they starving the people. Blaming and doubt, make it harder to eat, yo. Not a placebo, this not a placebo.
The food, the art, the clothes. This on the road. Gotta get exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, found out the hack, put it in the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts.
Started in Richmond, art of my district. Heart of the mystics, started for biscuits. Father to Isfits, martyr to misfits. God is my witness, God on my hit list. Moving the weight, we started with fitness. Moving with states, we art of the richest. Give me the blues, my heart is in Memphis. It's part of adventure, started my venture. The F is for the A is for art. B is for O's, I'm playing my T is for check, I'm playing smart. S is for shelter, I stay in the park. Acres on acres, get lost in the dark. We playing the part, we playing it smart. Facts, facts,
okay. The food, the art, the clothes. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the eco. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. Found out the hacks, put it in the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts, facts.
It's a movie, it's a movie.
Welcome to another episode of Third Eye Thursdays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pill in the motherfucking building. How's my audio? How's my audio? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Peace to the family. Peace to you and yours. Let's do an audio check before we continue. Yes, sir. We all clear? Awesome. Let's do the roll call. Let's see who's in the building. Shout out to everybody that's in the building, all of my KT aliens. Peace to everybody in the building. Let's do the roll call. We're going to have a very powerful show tonight. You know, you are in for a pleasant surprise. I got a special guest in the building. He ain't come to play. Mississippi in the building. We got Nashville, Tennessee in the building. We got the motherfucking BX, the Bronx in the building. Shout out to the BX. Shout out to, of course, North Carolina, Cleveland, Rome, Georgia, West Palm, Florida, Texas, Brooklyn in the house, Greenville, North Carolina in the house, Dominica, West Indies in the house. Peace to Dominica. All right. We deep in the building today. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, Virginia Beach, Cleveland, Ohio, Winston-Salem, Southern Mexico. You dig? Virginia Beach, Cleveland, Ohio, Chicago, Rocky Mount, Southern Mass. The family is in the business. I see you. Shout out to Haiti. I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but the USA and I believe it's Canada have invaded Haiti. So we want to send some love and light to our Haitian brothers and sisters. Sapase, we'll be updating you on that story very soon. Shout out to the Zoes in this BH. You dig? Shout out to the Zoes. You know? From Miami, geeking is a major issue. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about ZZ. Who else is here? Who else is in the building? Let's see who's in the building with us tonight. Where's the family from the UK, the Mandem from across the pond? What's up with the Mandem? All right. Caracas, West Indies, Inglewood, San Jose, New Baghdad, Maine, Rock Hill, South Carolina. It's very good to see everybody in the building. Salute to everybody that is in the building. Greetings to all. Like I said earlier, welcome to another episode of Third Eye Thursdays. And definitely pardon me, I don't want to give you the miscount on these episodes, but we're definitely in the 200s. Okay, we're definitely in the 200s. Third Eye Thursday is a weekly show that I do on this platform, along with every Monday, Melanin Mondays. These are staples in this community. We've been doing it, these podcasts, ever since 2018, and they've been going strong. And if you check the receipts and the records, the information is prophetic. You know, there was a conversation that was started not by Kanye West, or Ye, affectionately known as Ye, right? Not started by him, but continued by him and verified and stamped and certified by him as somebody who not identifies, but is on record as a billionaire inside of a culture where cash rules everything around me, like Blue Pill said, in a culture where cash is king, but cash rules everything around me. So he with the biggest bag is the king in this castle, okay? That's what hip hop and the culture represents. And I didn't write the rule book, right? I didn't write the manual. It was already written by some of the wordsmiths, the poets, and the soothsayers in the culture. Cash rules everything around me. So as a billionaire, if this man goes on record and says, as a billionaire, he's from a vantage point that many can't necessarily relate to when it comes to him identifying what true value and wealth is in America. And not to be facetious, he said that it was intelligence. Not only did he say it was intelligence, he said it was intel. He said it was intellect, right? He didn't say it was the money. He didn't say it was real estate. He didn't say it was his property nor his assets. He didn't say it was his stocks. He didn't say it was his bonds. He didn't say anything but what it was. And it's what I've said on many occasions, right? I'm just here to make you think, and I'm just here to make you remember. Sometimes we're caught up in we're caught up in a literal sea of knowledge where we're drowning in information. It is a deluge of information. It is a sea of knowledge in this Aquarian age. So many of us forget where they received information from. So I'm here to remind you that we've had these conversations before, right? We've touched on these topics before, and these topics are being reintroduced and retouched. So we're here to remind you that, yeah, this was said a minute ago. That intelligence is the prize. Academics said, I'm the prize. No, intelligence and intellect is the prize in this culture. It is the prize not only in this culture, but in this world. It is the highest asset, right? Intel, intelligentsia, information. So with that being said, we definitely are in for a reevaluation, about where we place our values and who we place our value in, right? And who has the quote unquote, and when a reset takes place and there's a restructuring and whatnot, we have to reassess where we've added value, because as it stands, there's a lot of value added to a group of people who do not, I repeat, not only in their actions, but also in their speech, they do not reflect the quote unquote metrics that Ye reiterated in the interview about where value lays. So with that being said, it's no better time, to segue into our guest for the evening. I don't want to waste this brother's time. He has many things to do, and he's been doing many things, but this is a prophet amongst us, somebody who has been very instrumental in the metaphysical and the occultic and the quote unquote quantum conversation about these hip hop stars or these hip hop personas and deities and whatnot, or archetypes in the culture. So without any further ado, I want to open up the line for my brother, right? But also your brother, our brother, Brother Blue Pillar 44. Peace.
Peace to the family. Peace, love, and light.
Peace, love, and light. Greetings. Welcome to Third Eye Thursdays. Welcome back. For that matter.
That was an elaborate introduction. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Honors. I'm invigorated. I just saw.
It's hard out here for a prophet.
It's hard out here for a prophet. I just saw an interview that really did a lot for my my child, the child within me. It did a lot to spark my mind. It's very interesting when I get to think, watching content out here these days. There was an interview that you did with KRS-One and Soul Society that has the potential to shift the paradigm in this culture that needs the highest levels of conversations right now. And I want to say thank you for providing us with that piece of content. And I look forward to more pieces of content of such high quality. That was a nourishing meal.
You're welcome. And thank you for receiving. You know what I'm saying? I was honored when I got activated to be part of that demonstration. Shout out to my brother King, Born King, Soul Society. These brothers, they exemplify, like he said, the master students. You feel me? what this is all about. I don't know if you saw the entire interview.
Did not from top to bottom, but I caught
but
big parts of it.
At some point in the interview, the young man was talking about how he was contemplating suicide.
That part I did see. I got to know a lot about him in that interview, but I caught that part of 21st birthday on top of a roof.
Yeah, on top of a bridge or something, a building or whatever. You know, we've heard these stories multiple times. We have been active participants with speaking people off the ledge. This is not just a cute name. You know, it is something that we actually have been called to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Speaking to people about scaling back their ambitions of dying, taking their own lives, and convincing somebody in real time where the value lies. Like you said, you were speaking about the value earlier,
Right.
you know, and even at the culmination of this conversation, hopefully we're going to get to a space and a place that I'm going to tell people, you know, regardless of what you see going on outside, you know, it has, you got to find your way home. This conversation has to be one that you having with yourself, because it has to come down to you. There is nobody else.
Ye are gods.
Ye are gods, not yea. Ye are gods.
Right.
Right? Psalms 42 verse 6. So these things are repetitive mantras, you know, that we have to sit with, we have to live with, and we have to consistently and constantly reprogram, you know, our subconscious to obey our command.
Right.
And what is the command? Say it again.
Ye are God.
This way.
Every day, all day.
Yeah.
Even on a Sunday.
Especially on a Sunday.
Oh, Pablo in the building.
So there's a lot going on, and I'm so thankful for perspective. You know, having the opportunity to see things for what they are. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, being honest with yourself is saying, damn, I don't always have the answers. You know what I'm saying? I don't always have them in real time either. Sometimes it takes concentration and contemplation. Sometimes you got to be still to go forward. You know what I mean? And I hope I'm not sounding like a
What?
like Proverbs. I'm just an analogy, or because I'm looking for the right word of what all of these things sound like. It's not analogies.
Yeah,
These
you
are like
build
attacks. Yeah, you know, I just don't want to sound like that. You know what I mean? I really
Right.
want what's being said to register real talk.
Out.
So I could sit up here literally and talk for 4 hours about what I observe or what I think, or how this connects to that, or that to this, and
Right.
get all the metaphysical. And I even put a post up the other day that I had to take down, because I'm just like, you know, it's as deep as we can get.
Right.
You feel me? It's really because it's Libra season,
Yes.
right? Libra season is about the scales in my eye. You feel me?
Yes.
And I'm thankful for spirit as well, right? And I hope I'm not sounding like yay, because I'm not finishing my sentences and jumping to other ones.
Nah, brother, you
I
down?
promise
You tapping in?
I'm gonna bring it full circle.
Yes.
So
As you always do.
I was speaking to the brother that comes to the club with the alkaline food, J-Lo, I believe his name is.
Right.
And I wanted to get him the Sabi episode that we did on Know the Ledge, right? From Know the Ledge Radio Archives. So I Googled it, and surprisingly, it was still there. And I sent it to him, but in the feed it popped up Will 777.
The legend.
Right? The legend. So I'm in the whip with my lady. We coming from the club, late night.
Right.
I like, let me put one of these joints on, right? The one that I really, really wanted to listen to did not play.
Right.
I went to the next one and I played it, and Spirit had me listen to that for a specific reason. That was the episode that I needed to hear. And then again, these are the things that happen in real time to really have you pay homage to Spirit, because this is how you bear witness. You like it, there has to be Spirit, there has to be creators, something or someone is looking out, right? Just to bring my conversation and my consciousness to even keel that I can see what I'm looking at properly.
Right.
That part, right? So in the episode, he was talking about the black and white checkerboard.
Right.
But he was talking about the game of black and white, right? He was talking about this game. He was talking about balancing the scales, right? And the fact that we are still playing this color scale game means that we are very much unbalanced. You feel me? We are very much unbalanced, right? We don't have a handle on a conversation that has been taking place, since we got on this planet. And it's a conversation that for the most part, it's a rabbit hole attached to it. And there's really nothing that you can, again, because this is Libra season, right? Because this is Libra season, is dealing with balancing the scales or being in balance, right? Or just observing where the imbalance lies at in your life, so you could say these are the places where I need to put in some work. You feel me? What I was able to observe in society is this concept of quote unquote somebody's life mattering more than yours. It made, it obviously made a lot of people upset. You know what I'm saying? And the way that they responded to being upset told me a lot about, all right, well, they still have issues with, this particular subset of people, and they don't have solutions to those issues. They just got issues. You feel me? As we are dealing with seasonal change, going from summer into fall, and we're going to go from fall into winter, you feel me? And of course, every year they promise this is going to be a cold winter. That energy that people are expelling on conversations that really have no ending, right? They run on sentences. There's no periods involved. It's like the expression of the energy, the expression of the emotions around this particular topic with no resolutions in sight shows me that we're looking and heading for a very sick winter. Like a lot of people are going to be sick based on them emitting these levels of emotions, deep emotions, right? So for some people, they're expressing things that are tantamount to hatred for particular subsets of people, and while all of that appears to be cute initially, because we're getting things on the table and we want to educate other people around us, or we need to remind ourselves. You don't need a reminder, obviously. It's locked within you. It's dwelling within you. You know what I'm saying? It's embossed on your cells. You need to figure out and find some form of healing, though, in order to release this anger and this pain. So, and in this conversation is compounding around hip hop in particular. Hip hop in particular is a liver killer. The culture, right? The individuals that we're looking at, who are prominent pieces of this culture, who have left the culture somewhat ramshod. Okay, let's take a quick example. Again, like I said, people are only focusing on the back of the shirt. You can't get to the back of the shirt before you pass the front of it, but nobody's focusing on the front, right? And the front proves the point of the back. So it don't even make sense to expend so much energy on the back, but people are identifying it as a political term rather than it being an exclamation of quote unquote white lives matter. But the front got Pope John Paul II on it, or should we say St. Paul II on it, or St. John Paul, whatever that is, right? So people's unwillingness, to be dismissive of the fact that, we still live during a time where we're under the foot of Christianity or Christendom, and this concept of a white Christ attached to, or a white Jesus attached to a white God. You know what I'm saying? That is the mental psychosis that has this world going crazy. And the people that was responsible for bringing that energy specifically into hip hop and making it a wave or making it nouveau was the same two people that was in the headlines, right? Mandingo wrestling at the same time that Ye's situation was popping off. So you got Mace and you got Puffy, right? And Puffy and Big brought in the Jesus piece, but Mace did something different with it. Hence the fact that he said that Kanye is his son, or he created Kanye, because Ye came in right with that wave and resuscitated it, reinvigorated it, and gave it new life. Okay? He gave it a totally new life. And these same individuals who are tethered to the church or tethered to a European or anglicized form of Christianity, how many liquor companies does my dude Diddy have?
About 3.
You feel me? So this continuous attack that hip hop has popularized on the liver, right? It only is going to lead to a community of people who are angry, right? Because when your liver's shot and your liver's deteriorated, you angry for no reason. You feel me? So there was a lot of expression of people who are uncomfortable, who are angry. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop needs like a day where we could just do hugs, right? We need to hug it out as a culture and figure out, if you're so traumatized by your experiences with these particular people, what are we going to do to heal? What are we going to do to move forward? What are we going to do to remedy whatever the issue or the problem is? We got to come up with solutions for our own personal health, because this is going to lead to a cascading amount of issues dealing with mental health, because there's a mental psychosis that is clearly identifiable in our society. And that's the fact that we feel that we have issues that we don't have answers to. You know what I'm saying? And it was painful to watch. It was embarrassing to watch. You know what I mean? But it's also these are one of those rare teacher moments where they engage the social zeitgeist. This is a international, if not a galactic, conversation taking place at this particular time. And we've pointed out on numerous occasions dealing with the metaphysics of who Kanye is. He represents Polaris. He's the little bear. He represents the North Star Polaris. He is the guiding node of quote unquote consciousness. We could say melanated consciousness, or we could just identify the consciousness, let's say hip hop as a nation, as we clearly explained it and defined it and laid it out in that interview with KRS-One. Right. So that's what he represents. And as we continuously say in our dissertations that we've been having since 2009 about Kanye, right? There's a perception of an equinox in terms of this energy dynamic in hip hop involving him and Drake, and what is he, doing as of lately? He's saying, I'm going to pass this procession off to him, and give him the baton and say that he got it from here.
No, not
the temp.
Right.
He said what? Wait, he said he's draconian. He deals with serpentine energy. He got the women. Right? Ye is dealing with what? He's a Gemini. He's dealing with the mind. He's gonna ask the questions.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what Drake do.
Right.
You feel me? He can't do what Drake do.
Right. And he did say that. He said it verbatim. And all the way down to saying what you've said since 2010. You know?
Yeah, because my builds on Drake started in 2010. But Ye, I've been building on Ye since Blueprint 322.
But you've been building on specifically Drake and Kanye via the constellations. Cepheus, Polaris. He said he said you were poking the bear for too long.
Yeah. We're dealing with Draco, we're dealing with the little bear, which is Polaris. Cepheus is coming after all of them.
Right. That's why we're seeing this. That's why we're seeing this action right now.
Yeah, those constellations have to dissipate, and pass. The time is up, and it's almost like when you see a star burn out and go supernova. It's not pretty, right? A destruction ensues. It's going to tear down everything before it goes. You feel me?
Right.
So again, there's a lot to look at. There's a lot to unpack. But after you exhaust yourself from doing all of that, what are you doing for your own personal mental health? What are you doing in your own personal space? You know what I'm saying? To make sure that you're doing everything in your own personal space to convince yourself that your life matters. Right? Are you yourself convinced? Or do you need some convincing? Do you need to be part of the social zeitgeist or the group thing to be convinced that your life matters? Does your life only matter in a pack? Or do you individually matter? You know what I'm saying? As an individual. And then we got to go back and erase the metrics to say, look, you don't got to be a billionaire for your life to matter or for you to have a voice. Because he's also spreading that false narrative. And I understand it because, again, according to the dictates or the construct that hip hop helped create, if hip hop said cash rules everything around me and that's the rules, then by proxy and by default, you got to listen to everything he got to say. You feel me? Because he's the head nigger in charge. Right? It gets no more simpler than that. Because people's like, why are we still listening to him? You feel me? Why are we still listening to him? Don't his life matter? Don't what he got to say matter? You was just telling me the other day that Black Lives Matter and shit. This is the most richest melanated man on the planet. Or in this country, so they say. Right? So when did his stop mattering? Now you want to turn the channel off?
Right. According to the rules, he's at the top of the totem pole. He did that shit he did it with a mental condition. He didn't sell alcohol, and he did it with sneakers and apparel.
Not an ex-crack dealer. He ain't sell no coke.
Right.
He's not selling alcohol. You know what I'm saying? There's evidence that he sold his booty.
Right.
You feel me?
He sold his soul to some Armenian, spirit cookers. That may be the case. He sold his soul. They got his shit in a mason jar somewhere next to Bruce's, right next to Bruce's soul. And he is publicly pushing back or blowing back against what he may be perceiving he may be breaking out of that spell. They said the other day you was dressed like dude from Get Out, and it raised some concerns because I was like, God damn it, this looks like a textbook, what we would see if somebody broke out of the Get Out house. There's a lot of stories about people breaking out of torture houses these days, symbolically speaking, especially with this rise in cannibalism via the Dharma a fixation, that we see in the media and whatnot, or this quote unquote, they're conjuring up these entities the same way that they used to conjure up in Jim Jones' days, Charles Manson's days, then it turned into Ted Bundy's days, then Edward Casey, right? They always got you infatuated with their mass killers, with their American psychos, right?
Bro, that shit is leading Emmy nominations, right?
Right.
It did 1 billion something streams up until the other day.
Damn.
Some wild numbers.
Damn.
Hold on, let me see if I can get my notes.
Billy?
Nah, more than that. Nah, Billy is corny. It's like, it's way more than that.
Right.
It's crazy. Hold on.
Right. So,
and my dude looking like Lou Ferrigno on the cover. Hold on.
Right. So the people are being heavily conditioned, you know, by this media that this man is rallying against, and he's pointing out that if you take a minute and you look at facts over emotions, if you remove the Russell Simmons-ness of the whole situation and not, and not look at it about how much they paid your bills or helped you in your business deals or all of these things, while they helped you make $1 and they made 10,000, we're not here for that conversation necessarily. Anybody could point out a check with a Stein or a Berg's last name to it. That's not the argument. This is somebody who managed to run up about $6 billion to $11 billion, and he's telling you, bro, that's not the conversation. The conversation is not about who does business deals with them. If they're controlling the industry and the business deal, of course, Russell Simmons could sit in front of us and speak about the deals that he made with them, right? But what did he sell to them for them to give him these apparel and shoe deals? What was the barter? He helped to broker the sale of a multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar culture, and he did a video today bragging about shoe deals and apparel deals that they helped them with Fat Farm. And I'm like, fam, once again, you know the cost of everything and the value of nothing. There's a $1 trillion culture out of your hands, and you're talking about shoe deals.
Don't this nigga ain't on a run for a rape charge?
He's on a run, bro. He's on a run. Look, Chris Cuomo is on a run. Russell Simmons is on a run. The next nigga that Ye is going to have an interview is Matt Lauer. Didn't Pierce Morgan have a charge against him?
No, are you serious?
I need somebody to go ahead and do the research, because Chris Cuomo, who did an interview with him, is a Me Too dude, right? They didn't say anything about him taking down the video. Ye didn't even hit him with the Me Too shit. Like, how are you questioning me? And you basically got removed off of 3 networks because of you was out here Me Tooing chicks.
Yeah, like I said, this conversation should not be about Ye per se. It's nice that he created a opening to have a broader conversation. But this Libra season, you cannot fail the initiation of the ego heading into Scorpio. Your act on the scales. Scorpio decides whether you die or whether you live. But a transformation is still going to take place. So we don't even want to desecrate the holy name of death. Okay?
Right.
Because it's space in its place.
Henceforth, yes.
In order for something to live, something got to die.
Oh. Right. Blue, can I add on?
Yeah.
Just real quick. So, of course, the Gemini in Libra season, who is imbalanced, is giving us the good and the bad and the ugly. He has people on one side of the scales. They're like, I can't let the George Floyd shit go. I can't let the White Lives Matter go. But like you said, this is the cognitive dissonance that people are living in, because white Jesus matters. What if he stepped out with that shirt? White Jesus matters. I'm ready to do a 60-minute clip of all of the melanated singers who got on stage and thanked Jesus when they got their awards. For all of the people who wore Jesus pieces from Mace all the way down to Kanye, like you said. We just had Mace and P. Diddy in the news. They were quarreling. These are the people who ushered in a very Romanistic mentality. They ushered in a very Christianized mentality. Henceforth, he went to become a preacher or a pastor, and then Kanye comes afterward. Jesus walks. He becomes something like a pastor as well. So this is a continuum of that, quote unquote. He's coming from that strain.
Look, did I
that
tell
strain?
And I've told you this before, and I'll repeat it again. When I interviewed Ye in 2002, he told me he vindictively
right
made the takeover beat for Hove because him and his homies, and he was talking about back then.
Right.
They had an issue with Nas all the way back from him saying that he went to hell for snuffing Jesus when he was 12. They had a
gripe.
Ball.
Right.
Did Nas
because that ball was ether, it burned their soul. They burnt their soul slow, like the ether beat. Because what he believes in, his foundation, right? The man that he looked in and outside of himself too. When people are raised,
he was so burnt by that ball that he went and crafted the takeover so Hove could vicariously get some get back that he wanted.
Right.
And then he spoke about his issues that he had with Hove for using certain balls.
Right. So you see in his career, his outbursts are in moments where he's breaking out of the quote unquote Jesus spell. He's on the interview saying, I am God, right? He's in his music and whatnot with the God inflection before he goes back to being a good Christian after his behavior modification, right? After they renditioned him and started doing what they were doing with him, because remember, he was on the St. Pablo tour.
Yeah.
And after he got renditioned and he came back with the blonde hair, now he's a preacher. He's back in the church.
Let me explain what happened in 2015. He was in Sacramento and he was on stage, right? Going in on the Clintons.
Right.
Right?
I remember that.
It's called A Moment in the Matrix. Okay? It was called A Moment in the Matrix. He was going in on Clinton. This is when Jay-Z said he gave him 20 minutes on stage in 444. Right? So he mentioned he mentioned Jay, he mentioned Beyonce and everything. He was talking about democratic politics. The fact that they want him to tote the line. He's supposedly supposed to tote the line just because he's melanated and he was breaking the hole or the box that they was his handlers were attempting to put him in so he can what? Help the Dems get back in. Right? He broke his program.
Real quick. Editors, I need y'all. Hold on real quick. Editors out there, edit this video. Work with us because we got a lot of work that we do. Take these segments and splice it. Put the clips in that we're talking about so we could be edified in our journalism. But go ahead, Blue.
Yeah, the next day after the Moment in the Matrix, after his concert in Sacramento, he was reported by what? By his trainer, right? The same Jewish trainer that he said is Lizzo's trainer that cut him off this time. Remember? Right. It was the trainer that called in and reported him. The trainer obviously is the handler.
He's the handler, right?
You understand? The trainer is obviously the handler. Look, when I was dealing with Dre with Ye back in 2002, he had a handler from the 5W. There was a PR firm called 5W, right? His handler at that time name was Gabe. Okay? Gabe comes from 5W. 5W was the PR firm that they made Power Girls after. So this PR firm, they had young women that were in the family of the Rothschilds. They was in the family of this was the top tier shit, right? You niggas want to talk Illuminati? You want to talk this shit? Okay. It was the PR firms. I think Jessica, what was the girl? It was the lady that had the accent. Her name was Liz Grubman, matter of fact.
Yeah, Liz Grubman,
She,
the PR chick.
yeah, she hit him with the Range Rover in the Hamptons, right? So Liz Grubman had her PR firm, and her PR firm had all of the children, the young children, in particular the women from the Hampton elite crowd, from the social, right? The New York social set, right? So the New York high society set meets in the Hamptons. This is where they live, this is where they congregate, and they live on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Yeah. And Jay Electronica later on, you know, goes to London and deals with one of the heirs. But before that, they was all in PR, right? They call them the Power Girls. You could look it up. And they had a TV show. They had a TV show. You could look up the Power Girls, right? So the dude Gabe, he worked from them initially for 5W, but then they put him in Def Jam. He was Ye's handler for a long time. How do I know? Because the minute that they got with Ye, that's when they was attempting to stop us from having interviews and conversations with him. You feel me? This is after he starts blowing up. You know what I mean? And they put that handler on him, and you couldn't get nowhere near him after that. Now, I done seen them shuffle Gabe around a few times with Def Jam artists. They put him on Nas when Nas got to Def Jam. They put him on a few people. You know what I mean? And he knew when he seen us what time it was. Because we didn't have nobody to answer to. We didn't have no handlers. We was the only ones in media and hip-hop media at that time did not have nobody to answer to. We didn't have no handler. You know what I'm saying? We didn't come through no BET machine. You know, shout out to my brothers from All Hip Hop. I don't want to put them in you know, no negative light. But they could be marginalized as well. You know, they was an official syndicate. And your access is dependent on your relationship with the PRs, whether you're going to get invited, whether you're going to get a spot on the red carpet, and whether you're going to get the interview afterwards. All of that is contingent on your relationship with PR firms. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's looking to be nice and do nice and not get in these people away. So Ye has always had handlers around him. Always. You feel me? He's always had handlers. So the dude that was his trainer, apparently that had to be his handler. He turned him in back in 2015 when he was going off the rail. And then they took him into the psychiatric and hit him with the elephant juice. And then he came out with the swollen face looking like academics. And he ain't been the same since. Remember, he came out with the blonde hair. He came out on the I'm gonna tell you exactly when it was. It was a Gemini supermoon, because that's when he went to meet with Trump at Trump Towers. And he was taking the goofy pictures with him, remember? When niggas was like, that's Ye? What happened to Ye?
Right. When he popped back up.
He popped back up.
Mad goofy.
And this was the interim. Trump had not gotten inaugurated. He got elected.
Right.
But he
was
inaugurated, so he was still at the Trump Plaza.
And they was doing the transition teams, and he was bringing in all of the white supremacists, and people was getting triggered from right then. And then Ye popped up with him, and
so look,
was like
3.6 billion.
Damn.
Feel me?
Damn.
Can I go into my screen share?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, let me show them some of this. Let me show them what it's here for. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
I don't see the tabs or the permission. How do I
watch porn in the meantime just because it's out there?
Watch porn. Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute.
Chills.
When you finish your segment, do you see? Let me see. I gotta make you co-host. Do you see where it says? Are you in the back? Are you in the back room? Backstage?
I mean, I'm in the studio. Yeah.
Yeah. Click the button where it says present.
I don't see that. I don't see nothing that says present. Mic, cam, chat, more, comment, setting, cancel.
Click on more. You on a laptop or a phone? Figuring it out. Yeah, we got some files. I got some things I want to share too.
Chakras. Remember I talked about Rick Rubin? I talked about the 808.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for Blue to tap in he wants to share his screen. There we go. So the Mondim, you good? You on your laptop or something now?
Nah, I'm still on my phone. Do I need to be on my laptop or my
Yes.
iPad?
Gotta be on your laptop in order to share the screen.
What about iPad?
Try it. I haven't used the iPad. Try it. I'm glad that he brought up the iPad too, family. We have 781 people in here. I'm gonna drop my Cash App. We did this experiment about 2 weeks ago, and we went ahead and we bought this machine right here. Collectively, we all came together. I think it was $700. We put $5 up. Everybody that was in the chat, it was around the same numbers. And we went ahead and we purchased this machine because we are independent media. We don't share in the YouTube profit share model. They demonetized us from 2008. I was just watching, I was looking at our stats the other day. I believe we already serviced about 10 million views and whatnot. So there's a new Mac tablet that's out there. And that's something that we are aiming to bring to the table because it's going to help step production further up, right? We need to step production up. We're the black media, or we're not the black media. We're the cosmic media. We're the global galactical media. You know what I mean? We've been serving our people for a very long time. So now it's definitely time to level up the production and what it is that we're doing. The next step after that is the 4K Black Magic cameras, so we can really take this to the industry standards and whatnot. Okay. So yeah. So let me see if Blue. All right, he's getting his laptop or his tablet for that matter. Yes, indeed. We loving the show. We loving y'all being here. You know what I mean? We're loving the information that we sharing with y'all. Because like I said earlier, we are the teachers, you know, we're here to teach. So teaching moments, we've been teaching and we're gonna continue to teach. And when the people when they here to get the information, then that's something that they're gonna receive and whatnot, you know. Gotta feed the people. And we also have the link in the bio while Blue is getting his thing together. On October 30th, we will be on KTL University doing our presentation. This is on October 30th, Sunday, 11 a.m. Yea are gods. All right. Fear of a Black or More Messiah. Yea are gods. The people said that they wanted it, so we're going to give it to them. All right. Fear of a Black or More Messiah. Yea are gods. October 30th, KTLUniversity.com. All right. That's our Zoom. We'll have a Zoom. All of my KTLians, everybody that been tapping in, please don't miss this one. This is going to be a bona fide classic. I promise you. I shit you not. I'm going all the way in. There's going to be information that we cannot put on YouTube. We cannot put on Instagram. That shit live. I'm already blocked on IG Live. It's been about a month already. So, you know, there's things that we need to say off of these platforms so we can remain platformed and not get deplatformed. But yeah, let me see. Blue is back. Link is in the description.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm not on my laptop. I'm back on my phone. It was just too much for me right now. I can't. I gotta do
Okay.
I gotta do my camera, and then my slides are not in my. They're in my iPad. They're in my phone, but I would have to do a transfer. They kind of the lecture for all that, man.
I'm about to say, yo, look right here.
I got
Be
all
your
kinds.
gods, man.
Yeah.
If y'all know what Blue be pulling shit up in his phone on your cell phone in the
Yeah,
car, like in
yeah,
the whip. You be doing keynote presentations
my
at the red
Instagram
light.
live format. I be doing whole lectures on my IG lives. To me, it's like DJing. I'm on his wheels of steel. I'm
Right.
changing
You got
records,
different records.
mixing, I'm
Right.
crossfading.
You mix.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Because you weaving narratives,
I'm
like
weaving
how
narratives.
homie,
I'm
like
setting
Red, like
to
homie
go.
with the elbows.
Yeah, that's my format. Like, and I gotta be on. I gotta be on the move. When I'm on the move doing it, it's even.
Cause you juggling. It's like it's like Stone Love. While you moving, remember I got that motion. You know how the young boys say, I got motion, nigga. So when I got motion and I'm in my flow state and I'm
Yeah,
down and I'm downloading, don't let me be like on a sacred highway. I'm
yeah.
going dumb with it.
Like I have a saying, and it's called the magic is in the momentum,
Right.
and it's the same thing. When I'm telling the news. I remember I was speaking to Keys last week, and he was like, "Yo, that Sinead O'Connor piece you pulled out was crazy."
Right.
And I was like, "Bro," I was like, "I got that." I was moving 99 miles per hour, literally. I was on a highway when I was putting them posts together. I said, "Now imagine if I had an opportunity to really slow down, and really analyze this news and make these connections and put them together for what they are." So I did. I slowed down for a minute. I'm actually writing a book.
Right.
Because it's just way
You
too
might
much.
even yeah. Are
So
we gonna surprise them with anything on the 30th from that book that you and Alkebalon was writing? Conversations with Gods? Like could we give them a
goes with
little
the cosmos.
preview? Conversation with the Cosmos. Yeah.
We definitely can. I was speaking to Alkebalon the other day. We do have a full form presentation, and we also, me and him are going to be presenting where we're finally ready to bring this book out. So we're going to do a lecture format. You know what I'm saying? Just to give people an overview of where we're going with this book. Me and
Oh,
him,
beautiful.
we pinned the tail on a donkey 2 years ago, pertaining to all of these conversations, because
Right.
all of these conversations are tied together.
Right.
Um, Shout out to my brother. I got to give this brother some props and some acknowledgement. Clico,
The
right?
legend. The legend.
Shout out to Clico. Shout out to Turtle Gang. Shout out to Black Dot. Shout out to Brother Rich. You know what I'm saying? That was an extraordinary show the other night. And Clico did an extraordinary breakdown I seen on his page, and he was just talking about the threes, the Creed 3 and the
King's Disease 3.
3. You know what I'm saying? And then this third interview, right? These threes, everything coming with threes.
Right.
You feel me? So, and he was speaking about the fact that all of this deals with solar aspects, right? The sun, the king, all of this corona energy that's still reverberating and popping back up. 11/11 is going to be the release of Black Panther 2. You know what I'm saying? With them talking about Atlantis and things of that nature. You feel me?
They lit.
All of these recurring themes. You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff, congealed and just coming together. So
Right.
yeah, that brother, he got into his metaphysical bag. He gave an amazing breakdown. It was invigorating. It reminded me of the old days. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, there's just so much to unpack, so much going on. But it's beautiful when you see the mosaic of it all, the picture where you find out where all of the connecting points and dots is at.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yes,
Um,
sir.
But again, I overemphasize: do not allow this information to take you, on a ride for your life that you, you know what I'm saying? You don't lose focus. This is still about you. You have to do the internal work, right? We're going into the dawn, the twilight of, the death of the sun. You feel me? The lion's mane is falling. You feel me?
This is
Not
what
just mane, but
right.
you know, we're losing our strength as a people who are connected to the solar deity or the sun, right? So you have to make sure that you are being restorative, regenerative, and you're not burning everything out with these emotional outbursts.
Right.
You feel me?
They don't bring anything back to you.
That you're not gonna do nothing with. You're not gonna do nothing to these people. You
Right.
feel
And I
me?
shared some.
And again, yeah, and don't become an accident murderer. There's no such thing as the days. You have to be very poignant and concentrated as to who you feel that you got an issue or some angst with, right? Because you can't have it with an entire population of people, nigga. You don't got no nuclear bombs.
Right. So this is the thing. This is the important part. And this is why people say, oh man, y'all, people are so distracted by what's going on in the news and not realizing that no, it's not about distraction. It's about getting in front of the narrative, right? It's about controlling the narrative, not just daily, because this is a 24-hour news cycle that we live in. Being able to stay in front of the narrative. Once you control the narrative, you own the energy of the event. The reason why our people are suffering and they're so fatigued and whatnot is because the narrative is being taken from them.
Right.
Inside of the narrative is the charge. Inside of the narrative is the energy. The narrative is almost like the quote unquote inner workings. It's the wiring. Once you take the right
You holding the strings to the double dutch.
to the double dutch.
The strings is
Look,
the narrative.
you holding the aux cord.
Hold on. The strings is the narrative. You don't want to be the nigga jumping in between the strings. You want to be the one that's controlling the strings, controlling the narrative, controlling the flow, you feel me, of how the strings go. And then
Right.
you're observing the people who are doing the jumping. And you can either turn up or turn out, right?
Right.
You can do as you please, but you don't want to be the one who is contingent upon what somebody else is doing with the strings and they got you doing the jumping jack flash.
Right. Henceforth, right? Why the first video that I did that was in response to me unpacking the Drink Champs interview, I started it out and I said facts over fiction, right? We're going to slowly walk through this thing and unpack it. We're not going to get emotional about it because we don't want to feed the quote unquote entities. We're not going to become emotional about it because I don't have time to trauma bond with you niggas. We're not going to get emotional about it because it's not going to solve anything, right? We're going to give you the facts over what's being said and what's about to happen. I told you Nori was going to go on the apology tour, right? I told you that, what he was saying about the fentanyl and whatnot, there was information that was out there, right? That he got red pilled by Candace Owens because she put out a documentary that 95% of the black population probably never heard about or saw, so they weren't familiar with the facts, right? Later on, those facts come out and you see what exactly he was talking about, right? When he said that they hit him with the fentanyl, he said they hit him with the Fetty. Are you aware that this is a new way for law enforcement to take out people through the new form of police terrorism? It's no longer 20 shots from a gun, it's fentanyl on a napkin or on one of those quote unquote gloves that they wear when they're holding you down or when they have you cuffed and then rubbing it on your skin or on your gums or anywhere on your body and whatnot, you're having cardiac arrest, or you're going through what is known as these overdoses, and they're saying that you're ODing. Why don't you go and do the research, right? Instead of being into the emotional side of things, go and do the research on a number of overdoses of fentanyl ever since 2020. Now, speaking about fentanyl, it is a perfect segue for me to actually begin to make the case that I'm going to expertly deliver on October 30th, right? That I'm going to eloquently share on October 30th, right? When we do the Ye Are Gods lecture, Fear of a Black or More Messiah, Ye Are Gods, right? I'm going to share the power of controlling the narrative, because when the narrative is controlled, that's when the teaching can commence. That's when people can learn. That's when growth can take place. That's when we could get to the next level. If they control the narrative, it knocks you back almost 500 years. It takes you backwards on your levels. You don't gain from that. You don't earn from that. You don't even learn from that, right? You burn from that because they're taking your energy and they're using it for something. That's why so many people have been, they got triggered, because the George Floyd thing is an emotional trigger, right? It puts you back in your trauma. That's why so many people are emoting and went past the yay thing, and it's tied into the trauma that they're feeling because of what they went through during that psyop in 2020 and whatnot. So it's bringing back old feelings and things of that nature. That is very much understandable. However, once that is dealt with and once that is alleviated, we get into the other segments that were spoken of. That segment that I want to hearken on is the gripe, the public gripe, the quote unquote, he put charges on a group of people, and he told our people, or his people, right, who belong to different nationalities from different walks of life, and they're not all just Black people. He told his people, go and do the research on these people. These people are hiding their hands. Something needs to be said about how they move around with our people, and they have our people in their hand. I'm going to play this clip, and it's going to show you further evidence and proof of what he is, what he's bringing to light, and how this narrative, if controlled and if not taken out of context, or not red herring, or not gaslit, or not quote unquote, interrupted by agent provocateurs, then we could get to teaching, and people could learn something, and we could break some spells. People will wake up a little bit more, because you got to take advantage of windows of opportunity to wake your people up, right? Because the people are constantly in a state of stupor and sleep. But check this out.
The chakras is real.
Now, I'm gonna say some anti-Semitic shit. I'ma fuck your bitch. I'ma kill this nigga. 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 That's the real anti-Semitic shit that the Jewish people get paid off of.
I don't know what's this opioid thing, man.
But being a crackhead wasn't cool back then. Being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup, and
it's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
But I'm saying that's hypocritical, though. You're saying
it's opportunistic. Yeah. I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash?
But y'all want to make excuses. You know, people are somewhat afraid to ask the questions, to point the fingers, right? Something that Dame Dash started to say, something that Michael Jackson tried to tell you, something that Prince tried to tell you, something that James Brown tried to tell you, the same tried to tell you. All these men are dead. All these men died in the hands of the medical institution, which are the quote unquote laboratories, and these institutions are ran by the same people that he's talking about. You understand? The same argument was had by Michael Jackson. The same argument was had by Prince. The same argument was had by James Brown. The same argument was being had by Sam Cooke. Barry White was having that. Isaac Hayes was trying to tell y'all. Teddy Pendergrass was talking about it. So the conversation and the narrative that we are gonna get in front of, and what we're going to unpack, and what we're going to decode, and what we're going to, basically
just lend some context to, because yeah,
right. So
yeah.
So we're talking about a substance, an addiction, or an epidemic that's taking place in America, not in Black America, in America, that superseded even COVID. That they had the whole world on lockdown, wearing masks. The opiate, or for that matter, the fentanyl overdose count skyrocketed through the lockdown leading up into 2020. Right. Now, there's a record executive by the name of Liar Cohen who is on The Breakfast Club, openly admitting in the same sentence that the biggest epidemic facing the people right now is the quote unquote lean, opiate, and fentanyl epidemic, right? And in the same sentence, when he was asked, well, why would you sign artists? And for context purposes, for people who are not familiar with one of his most famous artists one of his most famous proteges, that would be Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, right? So Young Thug, at the height of his career, fit the criteria for the rapper who endorsed all of these things that I'm speaking of, mainly in the form of pills, syrup, which is lean, right? Molly Percocets, ecstasy, and and I guess a little bit of Xannies, right? Xannies and Molly, right? So Liar Cohen, who is the architect behind the 360 deal, right, launched his record label 300 off the back of Young Thug. That was his marquee artist, right? Then he sold 300, and now he's at YouTube. He's the head honcho at YouTube. And when he got into YouTube, that's when the drill rappers, not the drill rappers, the trap rappers like the Migos and other artists, like the SoundCloud rappers, and a lot of artists of the lower frequency who were promoting the lean lifestyle, the pill lifestyle, the ecstasy lifestyle, all of these lifestyles, their pages never got shadow banned. The content never got taken down. They actually started going triple and double millions. They went from 20 to 300 million after Liar got to YouTube. Okay. So they went and took they took the streaming formulas and everything else that is so easy to manipulate, and then they went and tapped into the digital streaming platforms, which are equally as easy to manipulate, right? Because it's really a number, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you behind the curtain. And now YouTube is being quote unquote utilized. If you look at all of the Black Death, if you look at all of the degeneracy, if you look at all of the things that are RICO that are coming from, you know, that are on YouTube that are RICO indictable, right? If you look at all of the you know, if you just look at how the algorithm promotes, pushes, and encourages a certain genre of entertainment, then you would begin to see a pattern, right? And you could tie it into what's taking place. This really that has real life consequences, right? Not speculatory, you know, you know, not somebody trying to fluff, like real addiction, real ODs, and I'm like, damn, there's no accountability in that in that regards.
Mm-mm. None whatsoever.
None.
You know, he said he got mouths to feed. You know, and what year was that from? You remember?
Yes, I do. That was from 20. This was not after the lockdown. This was like 19.
Right. It's like
18 or 19.
18 or 19. So, you know, it comes down to culpability as well. Culpability and responsibility. And again, that's all of these conversations is the lack of responsibility.
Right.
You know, nobody wants to take ownership of anything. Everybody seems to be passing the buck. And that's not a 2020 characteristic. You know, post 2020, post us going quantum, it's supposed to be about responsibility, right? You gotta stand on your shit.
Right.
Nobody's standing on their shit. How many rappers have signed to, you know, Laya Combs after that comment? You know what I'm saying? How many people have submitted themselves, you know, to be whores? You don't force whores on the track, right? You incentivize them. You know, some people is into gorilla pimping and they might be strong harming, you know, some of these hoes to get on the track, but a lot of them is just propositioned.
Right.
Right. So we seeing a lot of propositioning take place. Let me get this camera right.
All right.
So we see a lot of proposition taking place. And what are they being propositioned? Why? They're being propositioned and turned out by exposure, opportunity, you know what I'm saying? Or just being part of the whatever. So you can't fault somebody for dangling carrots. You can't fault somebody for laying traps, man. This shit is the jungle at the end of the day. If it's some money to be made,
right.
You feel me? You gotta expect that they're gonna be on your helmet. You gotta expect that, you know, wherever there's cheese, there's traps.
Oh, that's a ball. Nah, that
So
is
when is these young men gonna take responsibility? These young women. When is anybody in this community gonna take responsibility? It's never been a time where there have not been slave catchers. There's never been a time when there hasn't been somebody looking to snatch you up, right? If you on the streets, you butt ass on the street wandering, somebody gonna scoop you up. And that's the condition that a lot of these artists find themselves going up to these labels in still to this day. You know what I mean? And they seeing when they coming. I have made this point a bunch of times. And looking at, you know, you had sent me after I did the KRS-One interview, you sent me some videos about some of the forefathers of hip hop that are not getting mentioned that they, you know, they dispute. So we talking about Disco King Mario, and then I went and looked at another brother named Green Eye. Huh?
Yeah, Coke La Rock.
Coke La Rock is another one, but there's another brother named Green Eyes.
Right.
And he brought the flash. He brought the, you know, because he was digging pockets. So son was getting bread. You know what I'm saying? And he was getting jig. So he brought the fashion in. You know, he was like the Bronx was bombed out. They was bummy. They had no money. You know what I'm saying? So even when he was coming back to the park jams, he was stunting. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no money up there. Crack hadn't hit yet. So, you know, this incentive, right? Now the younger people, they want to keep up and catch up with him. They seen what the formula was. Oh, he showed up with the drip. You know what I'm saying? He leaving with the shorties. They just coming out of disco. Niggas had, you know,
Right.
Tight leather shit on.
It's kind of moist.
You feel me?
Right.
So we gotta ask ourselves, what conditions was these young men's minds in when they was going and signing their lives away or getting duped, you know, by music gangsters? You coming from the street, dealing with all of the elements of the street, only to go and get, you know what I'm saying, hung upside down by your ankles by a 5 foot. You know what I'm saying?
By people more intelligent than you, though. Like Gay said, people more intelligent. So he who was wiser.
Shout out to my man Ken Brisbane, you know, because he was the first one to stand on that a while ago, where he was explaining that the European rules with intellect and you know, not brawn at all, but all brain,
right?
All intellect, running circles around niggas. You know what I'm saying? And in this book that I'm writing, it gets into this whole concept that, you know, all is mine and mine is all, but they said that man is mine as well. They didn't say mankind. You feel me?
Right.
So if man is mine and mine is all, you feel me? Again, you got to sit back and ask yourself, where do you fit in that dynamic? How are these people who are your children, who are infants to this planet, who running with your cloth? How are they running circles around you? Where's your intellect at? It's too damn late in the game for us not to be calculated in our thought process. Beat me once, that's on me. Beat me twice, you're gonna have to help me out with this. I'm about to make a George W. Right? So how many dudes was getting whooped and beat out of these contracts, bro, before the hood caught on and they like, nah, son, we ain't finna be sending nobody up, you know what I'm saying, into them big buildings getting bent over. It's still happening to this day.
To this day.
And it was happening. It was happening before they got up in that building.
Right.
Shout out to the brother who wrote Black to the Roots. You know what I'm saying? So we know if the CIA was actively involved with tearing down black music during the 80s and the 70s because of the rise of conscious music in R&B and reggae.
Right. Hold on, I got the book.
Please. I need that. Right? Black to the Roots lays it all out. Now these niggas is running around talking about a mysterious meeting that took place. That shit is neither here. I can't say that it's neither here nor there, but there's no empirical proof to show whether that meeting is true or not. What we do know is that the CIA commissioned Harvard to come up with a way to intercept the influence of black soul music in the 60s and the 70s in particular, right? And they was terrified by what Bob Marley was doing internationally with his influence, and they were scared to death that when he went on tour with Stevie Wonder in 1980 that he was going to radicalize Stevie, so they had to get rid of him. And that's what happened. But by them getting rid of him, they attacked reggae at that time, and then when they moved him out the way, they brought in Yellow Man for dancehall. Ironically, earlier this last week, you know, Jamaica finally said they're gonna put a ban on the slack music.
Right.
The slack music came directly after they got rid of him. Right. Directly after they got rid of him, they brought in Yellow Man, and reggae was never the same. It went from slack to dancehall, and they never got it back.
Never.
You feel me? So if they was dismantling these forms of music in the early 1980s, right? And then Clive Davis becomes a major player later on when he brings in Uptown Records with Andre Harrell before Puff. How you gonna tell me once again that the plot wasn't in from day one? And the bug part about it is that the hip hop that we identify with, that we gravitate to, that we love so much, that we call the golden era, this is when these melanated men was very much conscientious about what was going on in the art form and what was and who the imposters was. And this is where this is where school was taking place by way of the music. They ain't want that to continue to exist. You feel me? But KRS One speaks on it. And there's a few other people that speak on it. They like, yo, the initial jerking, the initial raping you records that happened in hip hop was not by way of the small hats.
Right.
It was by way of
their
their
own
people.
Right. They own people.
Who was taught, these are people that got bit by the vampire, more than likely, and they perpetuate the biting. And that's what happens in the industry. That's what happens in abuse, period.
Right.
When you abuse somebody, you bite them like a vampire, you turn them into an abuser, then they go abuse other people. Right? More than likely, Andre Harrell got it done to him, allegedly. And more than likely, he did it to Puff, allegedly. And more than likely, Puff has done it to everybody that he's coming into contact with, allegedly.
Right.
And yeah, so that's how that pattern happens. How do you break the cycle? You feel me? Has anybody got away from the plantation? That's what you need to ask yourself.
Right. For it not to be coincidence. For people to be like, nah, I don't know what he's talking about. Did you see the Russell Simmons interview?
No.
Oh my goodness.
No, I refuse to. Why would I mean, I know he's a lapdog for, you know what I'm saying, that segment of society. So no, I ain't got no time for no Russell Simmons, what he got to say. Right. It matters not. Right. I mean, let me say, as a journalist and somebody who wants to probably not so much critique the commentary, but it might make good. I might be able to put
dissertation.
Yeah. So
I watched it. It got some meat. I mean, it's pitiful, but it's it's good for context, because this is Russell. Remember, it's the narrative. The narrative, he's a part of it. He's a major player as a master node.
Yeah, in terms of hip hop.
Whew. His
as
fingerprints, his carbon, his proof of work, his carbon print in the culture of hip hop. He's a master node. It's almost like he's a Kaiser Sosa of this shit. Did you see the Kevin Spacey information?
He brought in that segment of society into hip hop.
He brought in Liar.
Before Liar, he brought in the Beastie Boys.
Right. Then he brought in
before the Beastie Boys, he brought in Rick Rubin.
Right.
That was his partner. You feel me? I think he was staying in Rick Rubin's room at that.
So NYU. He was in his dorm at NYU. Right.
So Rick Rubin had a very instrumental part to play with the beginning phases. So that's another thing. We can't pretend as if they had nothing to do with the early beginnings, like they ain't had a hand in the pot. That would be disingenuous.
Who said that they didn't?
I'm just saying.
Wait, what you talking about? No, who said that? They've been there from day one.
I'm just saying. They don't get mentioned in the conversation. They mandingo wrestling about the blacks and the Puerto Ricans or what have you.
Right.
But they was there.
Relationship between.
Yeah, they was there as well. So, hopefully, man, I'm not interested in that aspect of the conversation anymore. I've decided it's just too much of a rabbit hole. Right. I'm gonna continue approaching it from my religiosity and telling that narrative.
Oh, it's all about angles.
Yeah, these roads meet and converge, and this is a larger biblical story. The cultural context of the story is really about the zeitgeist, about where we're at in time and space as a people and what's being called upon us. We got some self-auditing to do, and we got to go back to these books and look and see what time we're in.
And it's also a case study, and we did a show with Brother Rich, me and Supernova, about the Red Pill community. and I gave a definition of the red pill, of what being red pilled is, and what the phenomenon of the red pill is. And I wasn't referring to myself as the red pill.
They jacked your name a long time ago. They didn't remix that shit
Right.
like 4 times.
Right. You know, rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully.
And what Kanye West did, right, on the Drink Champs, when people understand what red pilling is, he basically was red pilling the black population, most what he identifies as the left, with right wing talking points, right, and with a right wing, like a right wing right hook, and with those right wing right hooks, he successfully red pilled a large population of people who wear his sneakers, listen to his music, right?
Oh yeah.
And remember, because what he did in fashion, what him and Virgil did in fashion, was something that was not done in fashion before. They tied ideology into fashion, right? They changed fashion forever because he married concept to fashion. That's what Kanye did.
How has that never been done? What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
Explain yourself.
Not never been done, but it wasn't being done in streetwear. It wasn't being done in urban fashion like that.
What ideology did he tie into streetwear that had not been there prior? Help me out.
He brought in the ideology of the way that like with the whole Balenciaga thing, when he was marrying the concepts of Balenciaga with the mask over the face, you know what I mean? When he was, giving you the mind state of what these houses were about, you know what I mean? What were their mind state? Like, what were their, what did they stand for? And then he married that into the outfits that he was making, the uniforms that he was making, the way he was, like his first season and his second season, when he had the concept of shit being minimalized and stripped down. That minimalized and stripped down look was being married into the concept or the mind state of minimalism, right? From those people that he was studying in both Europe and other places, not just fashion houses, but thinkers, right? So
Architects,
right, architects. But the reason why he praises Balenciaga as the top brand and things of that nature is because that's what Balenciaga was known for. He was one of the people who was marrying, he was anti the concept of the fashion shows, how shit was supposed to be, and he was a disruptor in a sense, right? So Kanye has taken the disruptor lifestyle, and he has applied that not only to his clothes but to his life, right? So he's not just wearing the clothes, he's living out what the clothes mean. Like Virgil was not just his concept of off-white, and even when he went to Louis, was not just the clothing, it was the lifestyle that goes with the clothing, right? The mindset of Virgil, the mindset of Kanye. So that's what he's known for in fashion, for changing, because he married concepts of lifestyle with the fashion, you know what I mean? And he did it very successfully.
And you're saying that wasn't being done in fashion prior to Kanye?
No, not by
Calm down.
artists.
Shaking like a leaf. Oh, okay.
Not by artists.
Because I'm like, Supreme as a streetwear. that was very conceptual, super conceptual, and it came out of something prior to that. It came out of Stussy, and that was conceptual as a streetwear brand.
Right.
I would invite you. Hold on. I would invite you to just do the research on streetwear in its origin, because I had to deep dive into this 2015. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Way back. I did a lot of research on these brands and their
origins.
Their conceptual origins.
Exactly.
Their conceptual origins. They all started from concepts. Now they probably didn't have the celebrity, like like you said, a head designer who was a rapper, or the head of the house per se.
Right.
Who was somewhat of a globally recognized name such as that. But yeah, these are all conceptual streetwear brands. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about that, but I don't remember. But yeah, you know, yeah, man.
Yeah, nah, but what they did in this generation is it's definitely haven't been done before by young black artists such as them, the Virgils of the world. So they made an impact.
Without a doubt, without a doubt, very impactful. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, yeah, man. It's so much. It's so much overlapping connections. You know, that we'll be making. You know, these particular connections that we'll be making during this presentation.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it was said that I think Laya might have give, and this is alleged, I think they might have hit him with 250K, you know, Rockefeller startup to get his thing off. And Laya comes from a banking family. His father's Mossad, though.
Right.
So, you know, he was the road manager initially
to run DMC.
You know what I'm saying? He was their road manager. I had made the vital mistake during an interview with Chuck D after Jam Master Jay's funeral at that, you know, thinking that I know something or I was on my shit. And I'm in this man's crib calling Liar Cohen.
He wasn't having that.
That was a bad move, bro. That was a bad move for real. He shut it down. Like he was not feeling that. You feel me? And I didn't understand. Like I'm like, damn, you caping for him for real. I didn't understand the fullness of their relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now they got solid relationships with him.
Yeah, you know, that's where the whole grift thing, you know, the ouster of grift comes from the solidity of that relationship.
Right.
And, yeah, he wasn't there for none of that. You feel me? They was very much protective of that individual. They had nothing but the highest of honors to hoist upon him and speak on his name.
Right.
You know, and that's neither here nor there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, like if people is volunteering to be hoes, there's always gonna be a track for you to get on. You know what I'm saying? And there's always gonna be somebody there that's willing to take your money from you and exploit you. And that's just the truth of the matter. And it's very negligent for us, you know, to tell the children anything different or to even have them believe that there's just only one subset of people on the planet that's capable of that. You feel me? You're gonna get that everywhere that you go, especially when you move like a hoe. You know what I'm saying? There's only two things in this world: there's pimps and there's hoes, and you can't be both. So you got to make a decision about where you want to end up.
Church, tabernacle,
right?
Tabernacle.
So they just out here doing what they do. They doing what pimps do. And they have a very long historical history in the music industry for whatever reason, or entertainment, for pimping out melanated talent, if you will.
Right.
And before I even get into these deep dialogues online with people who presumably may not really know anything, right? And that's no disrespect. I'm just saying I can see from the conversations taking place that, you know what I mean?
Everybody ain't like
they
that's
don't
what
have
I'm
that
saying.
quality. They don't have that level of education really yet to really chop it up. Damn
But
sure
it's like
don't
you
have enough
said.
to get in front of no train, no fast moving train. And that's what the the social zeitgeist, right? It's a fast moving train. You know what I'm saying? You need to go and read some books first and educate yourselves, and then we can have conscientious, non-emotional conversations and observations. And then if you get in front of somebody, you can articulate yourself in a way that's respected enough to hold their attention to get to the second question. Because I'm seeing niggas get shut down out the gate for how they come out the gate. There's no cleverness, there's no, you know what I'm saying? Niggas is just not chess players no more. Like that shit ended with the jizz or something, because I ain't seeing no chess moves. You know what I mean? And you gotta have a, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have a hand that's almost tantamount to lucky lefty if you want to play in this arena. Because them people seen it all. They done seen it all, heard it all, and done it all. And they've been living comfortably with your birthright for so long. It's just like the U.S. dot. You know what I'm saying? The niggas putting paperwork trying to get their birthright back. You got to jump through mad hoops and loops. You feel me? And your shit better be tight. So it's the same thing with this. You know, it's only a few people who I'm looking forward to hearing from. You know what I'm saying? That have the potential to make this conversation kind of spicy and interesting. You know what I mean? Maybe like 3 people on the planet at this point. Because not too many people understand how deep this rabbit hole goes. Not many people have qualified themselves and immersed themselves in the research enough to unravel it and unwind it. You feel me? It's sticky. Yeah.
Pope did.
Sticky. Yeah. And you could lose your head.
God did.
You could lose your coins. You could lose your clothes. You feel me? Don't play with this one, y'all. Don't play with this one. Again, you would be better off adding value to yourself and taking this time to really concentrate on your own personal self, on your own personal development. We are in a transitional season. This requires you to be doing some level of detox. You should be detoxing from the distractions. And again, I don't consider this a distraction. I would say that it's more so a calling for you to understand the holistic nature of this conversation. Case in point, while he was just simply, because all he's doing is finger pointing to bring your attention to something. But if we step back and say, all right, well, what are these people actually up to in real time? The Fed is destabilizing global economies.
Talk about it.
Right? Them people that he's talking about, them banksters, who they like, nigga, you're 194 billion or $1 billion, whatever you think it is. Nigga, we run through that daily. That ain't, he think he got an allegiance because he putting 100 M's in a fucking bank.
Right.
These people is
peanuts.
Yo, they said they got $11 trillion of gold underneath the floor in London.
In London, right.
And they couldn't even prop up their economy. So if you got $11 trillion in gold, and the queen just died, Lord knows what sort of fucking reserve she left open. If they can't prop up their economy, this is Britain. Now they said that they said that the Cerebus dog is a 3-headed dog, right?
Right.
Do you remember where they said that the 3-headed dog is located? They said DC is military. You remember what the other 2 heads are?
Is it Virginia, Mary?
No. This is global. We ain't talking about in the U.S.
Oh, okay. London.
What's London responsible for, though?
Banking. Right. And then you got Rome. It's responsible for the head, religion. Right. Spirit cook.
People not paying attention.
Right.
If London is head of finances, right? Because London City is different from London.
Yes.
Remember, I can even get access to London City when I went to London last time. Feel me? So London City the shit. I don't know if you're a Harry Potter watcher.
Right.
But Harry Potter, they got a scene in like when he go into it's a certain part where the elves and all of them is at, where the magic takes place. That would be like
Right.
London City, an
Okay.
enclave. It's inside of London,
Right.
that exists for only so many blocks, but it's a separate part. It's like the Vatican. The Vatican is its own nation within Rome.
Right.
Just like the District of Columbia is its own
Columbia.
nation within Maryland.
Right.
Who's running a senator named Westmore, who's
Westmore.
44.
Right.
Who they're looking at to be the shoe-in. So this would probably be your, I would imagine they're looking to prop up. If they get Stacey Abrams in, they're going to run her immediately.
Right. So they put them together in four maybe.
I'm looking, he looked like he'd probably be 2028 because they got to get him in. He got to do a term. They're probably going to 2-term him, based on whatever the political atmosphere of the time is. But they definitely getting him right.
Right.
So you want to keep your eyes on him. Yeah, grooming him. Westmore. Yeah.
And a student named Westmoreland, Euro, he died. He was a student, an 18-year-old student, had another sad, sudden adult death. His name is Westmoreland, European.
Who's this?
Out of Virginia. He was an athlete. Somebody sent me an article of that. But every day.
Oh, recently? Okay.
Yeah, like today or yesterday.
So the global economy, right, is being affected by the Feds propping up the interest rates to save the U.S. dollar that is a behemoth right now.
Right.
In the global market. Nobody can compete with the dollar. The dollar's what did in, Liz Truss after her 44 days. Right? She can't rebound the economy. So if London is in trouble, the yuan, the Japanese currency, that shit was in the toilet the other day. Right? They keep talking about the Russian ruble and all of that being backed by gold. Evidence has not shown it. Somebody just sent me an article today saying they just backed the US dollar by gold. I gotta go and do the research.
Right.
So these people moving. Right? So this is just on the global scene in terms of the currency, right? The dollar's decimating everything and inflation is sky high. Right? You believe that, you going cashless. You better get you some cash and sit on some currency, some physical fiat, right? Yeah, it may all be part of the script, but listen, all financial meltdowns happen in October. Right? And Libra season is when all financial meltdowns happen. Right? We see what's going on in Russia. We see what's going on in China. Right? So last Friday, which will be a week from now, because I believe today's Friday, we crossed the 12 o'clock mark. The Biden administration, and I doubt very much it was Joe Biden, but the Biden administration, whoever is, shuffling papers and pushing pens over there, right? Or the military, as I've been said, there's no way that the military is not in control. We are living under fascism. It has to be. You believe that Biden is the one doing this? Then you crazy, my nigga, right? So they changed the definition to what a U.S. person is, and they gave the United States citizens that were over in China working for the semiconductor industry an overnight option of whether they wanted to retain their U.S. citizenship or keep their jobs in China. All of them unanimously chose their U.S. citizenship, and overnight they destroyed the semiconductor industry of China. Now, why this is so pivotal?
Hold on. I heard those were Chinese Americans.
Yes.
Okay, Chinese Americans.
Yes, Chinese Americans.
Okay.
Who still held citizenship here in this country, right?
Nonetheless,
they were Chinese Americans. That China had brain drain from Silicon Valley and incentivized them to come over there with their genius, their intellect, their IP, right? As well as, because they always talking about the spying and all of that stuff. They always catching somebody, shuffling intel to China, specifically dealing with chips, right? But they was also incentivizing an entire industry to come over there because the biggest race in this country is the quantum race, or the race to space. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
The race to space is the biggest race, because he who conquers space and puts the flagpole down, you got access to all of the rare minerals, and you also have the potential to be the first one who makes first contact and signs the first contract. You feel me? So the race for space is serious. Quantum, period, right, is an illmatic race. Okay, because it's no longer about just the nuclear. You already see where that shit is at. It's about quantum. Okay, you could do more with a quantum device than you can
quantum supremacy, to be exact.
That's what I just said, right?
Yes, you did.
Dealing with quantum supremacy. So they decimated China, and at a time such as this, China's still on lockdown. They still getting C-19 waves, right?
D-wave.
Their economy suffered. I think their GDP shrunk for the second year in a row. So they're not doing good economically, right? And their currency was not doing well previous to this move being made. But they positioned themselves with China, and they was talking about, China positioned themselves with Russia, and then Russia went and positioned themselves with the Saudis. So they're going to squeeze on the oil, right, to create even more turmoil for people in this country dealing with inflation already. When you get into wintertime, the heat cost is going to go up and gas is going to go through the roof. So this is going to be a crazy winter. You already see what's going on with food prices, right? So they got a bird flu outbreak. So the bird flu outbreak is decimating the population of turkeys, right? And chickens. So eggs and dairy and all of that stuff is already sky high, but it's about to be way more through the roof come Thanksgiving, right? These people are not going to boycott or sit it out. They're going to scrounge up all their pennies in an attempt to keep up with the folk tradition. You understand? Christmas going to look crazy because, again, that move that they make is going to affect all of the tariffs. So if you have a company that's contingent or dependent on supply chains going back to China, or supply chains period, because all supply chains are going to suffer, right? Once China slows down. You feel me? It's about to be crazy economically come 2023 in the 7-year, right? But this when the God's going to be made. You know what I mean? This is when the God's going to be made, because the pressure is going to be real. So the U.S. is destabilizing Iran by way of the CIA involvement in their youth rebellion.
Right, with the hijabs.
Right? The CIA is destabilizing Russia with their involvement in the Ukraine.
Right.
Right? The CIA is on the continent, you know what I'm saying, destabilizing those particular different corporations and countries and things of that nature. You feel me?
Let's talk about Haiti.
And the CIA is, or the US for that matter, is flirting war with China based on Taiwan. Right? And then we could talk about Haiti. Do you have any information that you care to share?
The USA has,
because I did my research. I was doing, huh?
The USA sent warplanes, and I believe Canada did as well, into Haiti. So the Haitian people are saying that there's a mini invasion taking place under the guise of putting the street gangs under control.
Yeah. Did they ever solve the issue with the president? Do they have a new president? They're
demanding. Yeah, they're demanding that the president step down.
That's the new. That's the installed one. The one that came after the assassination.
Yeah,
he's still the same one in office.
I believe so. And
this came the day after dude died, the big Haitian artist.
Yes.
From
so,
sudden, because they trying
sudden.
to say he ain't had the C9. They said he ain't had the jab in 10.
Okay, they said he was stressed out.
Yeah,
he had a family member that had got kidnapped, and they were saying maybe sleep deprivation or something of that nature. But he was underneath a lot of stress because of the turmoil of what's going on in Haiti. I think barbecue is out there turned up. Remember, they had barbecue on Vice, and then after the president got murked, barbecue blew up. So I've seen footage of the gangs. The shit looked like a rally. Like what it looked like Eastern Parkway.
I mean, I would imagine so. You know what I'm saying? That's how they giving it up. And there's no oversight and nothing to intervene. They're only gonna get stronger. So there's major moves, like I said, when you speak about the money changes and you speak about the Pharisees and you speak about all of these figures that were alive during the time of the purported time of quote unquote Jesus, whether it was real or not. I don't think that they made up Pharisees, right? There was Yehudis that was alive during that time, and I'm sure that there's records of them.
Right.
And they was in bed with Rome, and both of them concocted to get rid of the messianic force on this planet that was calling them out. You're gonna see the same thing play out, and it's gonna go over people's head and shit because they're looking for something puritanical. You feel me?
You have to every single box has to check. They gotta be able.
Yeah, every box got to check, but y'all are still waiting on Ye, almost like a second coming, to say, yeah, he's gonna apologize and we could forgive him. I ain't never seen a nigga that got so many second chances in our community ever. So if this motherfucker, if he's not a messianic force to you, what you still waiting on?
Right.
You waiting for him to come home. Right?
He falls under the Black and More Messiah mantle perfectly,
Damn sure do.
And he's
if not him, then who?
Then who? Right. And not only that,
this man has fashioned his entire career, for better or worse, for that matter. When I remember interviewing him in 2002, and he's like, "Yo, I'm about to make the sacrifice of all sacrifice." He ain't even put the music out yet. He ain't had no single out when I interviewed him.
Right.
I just knew that this was the nigga who produced the blueprint, and I was like, I gotta holler at him. Put him on the front cover. But he rapped "Jesus Walked to Me," and I had to transcribe that shit. I was in my feelings. Took me 3 hours to write that whole goddamn interview out. So he was like, I'm about to sacrifice and be the first artist that says Jesus on the radio. I thought that he was shitting me back then when he was like, yo, they don't even let us mention Jesus in the music industry. Now, I ain't teen whatever, but I'm still conscientious enough to say and look at something to be like, why is that way though? They can't even say that. It's in a contract. And he confirmed that the other day on an interview, saying that this shit was in people's contracts, that they can't mention certain names or talk about certain thing in music, and secular music in particular.
I heard Jesus in a lot of music though.
Hey, you never heard another Jesus Walk on the radio?
Yeah, that's the truth.
Right? So he has sacrificed many times over to put on for this concept, this idea that is his navigation, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Through these jungles, this is the shield and the armor that he puts on. This is how he shows up, and the people accept him however he show up, whether it's with a Jesus piece or a polo sweater or a MAGA hat.
Or a Heru piece. We always forget that part.
Yeah.
Right?
Or the Heru piece.
Because the Heru piece represented a time. And in that time, going back to what I was talking about, how he is influential on not only the culture, but he's influential on red pilling a large population of people who necessarily wouldn't get red pilled or reached, by somebody else. He's doing the job in his own way, right? Because when he came out with that Hey Ru piece on, that started that Egyptian wave in hip hop culture. That started making that shit cool. And then you started seeing different interpretations of that. Now, fashion in the wardrobe, as you were talking about in your video earlier today, the wardrobe, it does something when a person shows up and their wardrobe is reflecting how they think and what's on their mind and how they feel and who they feel they are. If you're wearing ancient motifs of Egyptian kings and royalty and things of that nature, and you're looking completely different, you got your gold on, your diamonds on and shit, but you're wearing a Cavalli shirt and it has King Tut on it, or a Sean John shirt that has Anubis and Heru on it, or academics outfit that has, because this was the wave that grew in the culture out of, that demonstration.
Out of Kings County.
No, out of Kings County. And I'm not talking about, I'm saying, yes, definitely out of Kings County. Remember what I was talking about, him as a artist, red pilling a population of his people.
Yeah, he's Polaris. He controls the navigational node of where culture goes in our community, in our culture, our society. So
So
if he say this is if we on this today, then we on that. And then
let me add context. So around that same time that he did that, what Brother Blue was saying, around that same time that he popped out with the Hey Ru piece, that was at the exact time when we were in Harlem and when we were in the community, infusing it into the culture through fashion, through information, through lectures, and through a lot of demonstrations and whatnot. And it was already a seed that was planted by Kings County clothiers, and that's something. That's something. The culture.
But my brother, I'm gonna have to bid you farewell. I wanna
definitely, man. I appreciate
thank you. I appreciate this level of engagement. I really wish I was able to go into my slides and do what I be doing on IG Live, but
look,
we'll have the opportunity.
Right. We got 10 more days. For everybody that's buying the tickets right now, I want to say appreciate that. I see my the things going off while we were having this conversation. KTLUniversity.com, y'all. Get your tickets for this presentation. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff that can't be talked about on YouTube. You don't need us to explain the level of censorship going on with the sentinels. That's what we call them. These bots is out here. Algae Rhythm is doing what he does. And we're going to take this conversation offline to our network, KTL University, on the 30th, Sunday in the rising, 11. We'll be up bright and early, giving you this information, sun gazing, downloading, decoding. You know what it is. Red and blue in the building.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Peace.
I want to say, peace, love, and light to y'all. I'm gonna tap in soon. Peace.
Peace, peace. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So there you have it. KTL University, like I said, tap in. It's 850 of y'all. About 80 of y'all will be in the building tonight, you know what I mean, with your tickets. You feel me? And we'll just wait for the next 80 to come through. But yeah, man, let's do this. Let's get this information. Let's control this narrative. Let's make it make sense, and let's make it empowering. But like Blue said, let's work on us, you know. Ye are gods, you know what I mean? Let's begin to realize that. And the time, as we can see, the times that we're living in are some very interesting times. And these are the times when you could do things that have never been done before. Possibilities, the probabilities, the capabilities, everything is up right now. So, you know, tap into your godhood, tap into your higher self, tap into the God within, most importantly, especially going into this hibernation season that we're walking into, this quote unquote. Remember, this is the season of depression when the seasons change. Keep that in mind. Like Blue was saying, you know, protect your mind, protect your energy, protect your emotions, protect your output. Don't get triggered easily, right? Remember, people are triggered. They want to trauma bond, and they're projecting, and they're acting off of emotions and not facts. So protect your energy. That's very, very important. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know, there's a currency crisis about to unfold. So currency is energy. You want to resolve, you want to hold on to that, you want to charge it. Yeah, and do the work, do the inner work. So with that being said, we're gonna pop up more than likely, probably before Melanin Mondays, but definitely if you don't see us, you'll see us on Melanin Mondays and whatnot, and we you know, we'll continue our conversation. All right. So with that being said, love and light to the family. Matter of fact, hold on. I gotta play this. Check this out, y'all. Talked about this last week on my show. This is some FYI, this is some trigger warning shit, but I want to finish this by adding context to the conversations that we were having last week about the small hats, or rather, I'm gonna call them the money changers, right? And the way that the culture is being vultured by people who have a lot of power and you know, and sway in the culture. So this clip is from Adam 22, and this is the clip where he talks about a fetishment that he has for drill music, Black Death, what he calls murder music. And I'm not judging anybody because everybody listens to their music and they have their, you know, their reasons, and everybody's free for that. But check this out.
You really trying to get me on that? I bet I don't watch porn. You can look through my search history. I swear to God, I don't.
So if I introduce you, if there just is a girl out here, just some random hottie, she's the hottest chick you ever seen in your life.
And I know you're probably being honest about
this.
this.
You know this chick is not out there. But if she was out there and you saw her and you knew that you could watch 8 guys fuck her with elephant trunks for dicks, you're turning that down? I want to see that.
Why do you need to see? I don't know. I'm good.
Why would I not want to see it? It's extreme.
Why? What the fuck does the elephant trunk? Don't do the devil horns with that.
Extreme.
You see the parallels? Nah, but like, I don't understand. What's the appeal? Why do you want to see 8 dicks in a girl?
I mean, okay, if you're not into that, one. I want to see her get fucked. If she was fucking right here, it would be the only thing we were able to talk about, right?
Yeah, 100%. But
I know it exists online, a few clicks away. I can look at it in my phone right now. I got to see it.
Here's an analogy that I've never made before, but it's kind of like the fact that we both like murder music, right?
Right.
We like drill music. And part of it is the fact that you get the adrenaline rush feeling of what it's like to be on a drive-by shooting in the middle of the night with your homies and you're getting revenge on something. Like the adrenaline rush is probably extremely high and something that most people never experience. Maybe that's why all these women are drawn to murder documentaries, because we kind of seek out that excitement. Even though the lifestyle might be bad, we choose a more normal life, and then we can exercise it through things like porn instead, or murder documentaries, or murder music. But instead, even though that might give you a great adrenaline rush, being on a drive-by shooting, we know that it's better for you to not do it, and it's better for the world to not do it, so you don't do it. So just because everything is out there and available and you can do, you need to set limitations for yourself. And even me, like you brought it up earlier, like me getting head from random thoughts and shit like that. Ideally, you don't do that. You're right. Everybody's a hypocrite to some extent, but we also, in my opinion, I like to acknowledge what's good and what's bad for most people.
Right, but like just because I listen to King Von, and I think that King Von
demon music.
King Von should not have killed all those people.
He's a serial killer, straight up demon.
But I can still listen to him, even though I think that this music realistically shouldn't exist. You know,
it's not about should it or should it not exist. It's just like
the world would be a better place if
it would, but you
King
need to
Von
decide.
didn't make all this murder music that I enjoy.
You need to decide. Maybe all of it is synced together. Maybe the murder music is lowering your vibration, and then you become comfortable with porn.
But I want to watch a chick get fucked by 8 guys for the same reason that I like listening to King Von.
Yeah, it's the same
extreme.
thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's bad shit.
Nah, it's great though. It's great art.
Just because it feels good. So the analogy is like, I bet that killing an enemy feels good.
Right.
But nah, you shouldn't do it. It's better to not do it.
But if you're in the gang world, you got to do it.
But it's better to not be in the gang world. That's the point.
Well, I would agree with that, yeah.
It's better to just uplift yourself and be better.
Right. You shouldn't join a gang, because if you're in a gang, at some point you're probably going to have to kill somebody.
To be initiated, yeah.
Be initiated. I don't think that's an initiation.
No. Or whatever, to be accepted.
Right. But I mean, that's realistically, I mean, there's probably plenty of gangs where you don't end up having to do that. But a lot of gangs, that's the reality of it. And your life would be better if you don't kill somebody, so just don't join a gang.
There's too many cycles of negative energy I see, and this is what I talk about in the street. It's like, I think we're meant to idolize these things so that we don't uplift our minds. Like, our minds are capable of so much. Energy's real, and I'm sure, bro, I know you talked to X, and I know you felt that when he was around. Like somebody that's constantly on a journey of trying to be their best self, and capabilities that your mind is capable, like that. There's something to that everything in society suppresses. Like when you watch porn, you're not able to reach that place mentally.
Let me tell you
watching
something
elephant trunk girls getting fucked, like you're
elephant trunk dicks. But let me tell you something about X, is that there's this girl, me and my girl fucked her, and it was all on my girl's Twitter, whatever, like me.
So Adam 22 got 4 million subscribers, right? Adam 22 basically steers a lot of the culture. He is one of the top 3 in media and the culture right now with his platform, No Jumper. He's had 19 Keys. He's had Rizza Islam. He's had a few people on his platform already, and he's introduced them to his audience, right? But he also has Nick Fuentes, and he also has this perverted mind. You know, he's an atheist. I don't know if he's a devil worshiper, but he's definitely without. He said he's without God. He does, what they do. But I just wanted people to hear that there's a fetishment of Black death, and the same fetishment of Black death is the same fetishment that I talked about is what made BLM and these slogans in that movement very appealing to a large demographic of people who were more so into feeding off of the energy or the emotions and the sadness and all of the tears that were falling and whatnot. It was like they were drinking those tears. They were feeding off of that energy. They were giving a lot of fake love, right? Because that's what they do. So a lot of people are tapped into death culture because deaf culture is, you know, it's an energy, right? It's a frequency. It's their way to live vicariously through, you know, their artists and whatnot. So they're actually pushing through with their energy. They're pushing certain things to happen, certain murders to happen, certain ops to get killed. You know, when you back one of these artists and whatnot, you're giving your energy to that artist in order to stay alive. And now it's monetized, and now it's controlled by people that, you know, that are being exposed. But yeah, we'll get into some deeper things. I promise you. The rabbit hole goes very deep. We're gonna have a very, very, very intelligent dissertation. October the 30th. With Ye Are Gods featuring Red Pillar and Blue Pillar 44. You dig? And if we want to really get spicy, we'll bring another extra special guest in there. But yeah, get your tickets, get your early bird tickets. This will be online only. I don't know, it might be live too. We might be in the Royal Chamber, but I'll keep you updated. So yeah. Let me end this with some music. Go ahead and end this with some sound, some bars. Yeah, make sure y'all hit up the CashApp though. Leave a tip.
It's a movie. The art, the code. We put this.
It's 700 people in the building. Yeah, hit that CashApp, $3. Leave a tip at the table for the food for thought that you receive. Leave a tip at the table. Support global media. You know what I'm talking about? Support global media. Blue Pillar 44. Money sign PhilMoreland. All right. We're going to end this on a facts initiative. This is the facts anthem. This is Red Pillar, Blue Pillar, Source Guard, Survey. You done know. Pull up. KTEL University, get your tickets. Let's go.
On the road, the Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Facts. Okay, the food, the art, the code. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grin, I'm stacking up these C notes. Facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. Found out the hacks, put it underneath rap. Facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts.
And that's facts though, I talk factos. That's J Babe, I go Astro. Floating focused on my cash flow. We plant star seeds to make the grass grow. I'm a refloater, I do what I wanna. Stacking the winter, sunbathing the summer. My chakras align and I shock them like Blanco. Only we acknowledge a nigga is Paulo.
At these events, I'm a god to my people. Got out the streets, yeah, we dodging a Rico. Game of roulette, I'm a casino. The game wasn't fair, yeah, the odds wasn't equal. Squad got the Chico, my squad got the Chico. Game in a drought, yeah, they starving the people. Blaming and doubt, make it harder to eat, yo. Not a placebo, that's not a placebo.
The food, the art, the code. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grin, I'm stacking up these C notes. Facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. Found out the hacks, put it underneath rap. Facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts. We in your city, pull up where we at. Facts.
Started in Richmond, art in my district. Heart of the mystics, parted for biscuits. Father the isfits, martyr the misfits. God is my witness, God on my hit list. Moving the weight, we started with fitness. Moving with states, we art of the richest. Give me the blues, my heart is in Memphis. It's part of adventure, started my venture. The F is for food, the A is for art. The C is for clothes, I'm playing my part. T is for check, I'm playing it smart. S is for shelter, I stay in the park. Acres on acres, get lost in the dark. We playing a part, we playing it smart. Facts.
Okay, the food, the art, the code. We put this show on the road. The Vatican getting exposed. You better stay on your toes. Repo, tilling the land, focus on the ego. Open my heart, let go of the ego. Ran out the grind, I'm stacking up these C-notes. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. Found out the hacks, put it underneath the rap. Facts, facts. Fuck it, we gon' put this shit on our back. Facts, facts. We in your city, pull up what we at.